disappeared. Before I get into the charges, and the main charge of premeditated first-degree murder, I have to speak on Naziah Harris and the community who failed her. And I am only presented with certain evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorneys know more than me. The family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given the adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life. No presence. To Cordell, a.k.a. King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Naziah, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up his shop. The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up if that counselor was absent, after Naziah was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needed to speak to someone and speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a one-year thing. There are text messages at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Naziah's residence in the house on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Naziah was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. I do believe she adopted Naziah. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that Naziah had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing, and that she had on red and black Nikes that day. What is hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified that he did as well. Text messages that show between him and Naziah that he did. In the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for Janiyah and Zaniyah, from what I know. I even thought about the breakfast routine and saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions.
Right.
And how are there 2 women in that house who have birthed the children themselves who did not notice that Naziah was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore? But then after hearing text messages today, begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give it for her. And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand, and she learned around 6 p.m. that Naziah did not come home from school, and said she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Naziah going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Naziah, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Naziah or having any indication that she was coming home that night. And of course, the defendant, who I will get to in a minute. I don't know who else failed Naziah, but the community did.